What really sucked as a kid, but is frackin' awesome as an adult? Story 1. Having absolutely nothing to do. It's pretty freeing, honestly. Gets tiring always needing something to do. I was laid off 15 years ago with 3 months severance pay, and it was fantastic. I had time to sleep and exercise and read and play video games, and I swear it was the best I felt mentally and physically since I was in high school. I have a friend who's semi-retirement, and I asked him what the best part was. He told me that it's not obligatory to enjoy your free time. When you only get 2 days off a week, you feel obligated to cram as much of your hobbies and entertainment into those 2 days as possible. At best, it stops feeling restful. At worst, the leisure activities become a chore and a source of stress themselves. Once you take work out of the equation, all that disappears, and you can enjoy the things you enjoy at your own pace. It hit super hard for me because it was the first time my own feelings about my constantly busy weekends had been articulated so well. I was let go earlier this year, and one older coworker told me to take some time off if my savings allowed because next time you lose your job, you'll probably have kids and a mortgage. You'll never have a chance to just not work without stress again. Listening to him and my deity, it was amazing for about 4 months. Hogwarts Legacy had just come out. I'd been meaning to play Far Cry 6, had a bunch of books I had been pushing off reading. Then I started getting really bored, and my wife was getting driven crazy by me floating around the house like a toddler with nothing to do, so I finally went and got a new job. So yeah, doing nothing is glorious, but even now there's a limit. Yes, I took 3 years off. Went to an island in Southeast Asia and tried to live the rest of my years in a bamboo hut. Didn't work out that way, but it was great for a while. That's so cool. I love Southeast Asia. I had a whole Chiang Mai Lantern Festival trip booked in 2020 before COVID happened. If I wasn't getting married 2.5 months after this happened, I would have moved to Ireland, where I have dual citizenship, and done a similar thing. Just worked at a pub or something. I would love to move to Japan. Tokyo is my favorite place I've ever been because it's like another planet. But I know I wouldn't do well there. It's expensive, and I don't speak the language at all. We all must return to reality at some point, I guess. As a current resident of Japan, you'd be amazed at how far you can get without speaking Japanese. I picked up some in the last 3 years, but lots of pointing and smiling does the trick. Driving is the hardest part. A road sign will be flashing, and I have no idea what it's trying to tell me. I ended up doing that, but after a week, the guilt and self-loathing set in of being a useless unemployed loser. I had flown over 100,000 miles the year before for my job, so it took longer for that to set in for me. It was actually being at my wedding/honeymoon and feeling awkward when people asked what I was up to/what I did for a living. I frackin' love being bored as an adult. I have ADHD, so being bored is like hell for me. However, I love having nothing important to do, like a day where I can just sit on my couch with snacks and my Switch and not have to stress about anything. Same. It's like there's nothing I have to do, but I have plenty I can do. That is bliss. You mean optimizing efficiency by delaying the execution until a time when urgency and anxiety force an exceptional performance to wing it at the last moment? My wife likely has ADHD. She grew up poor, so was never diagnosed, but she has many of the symptoms. Also, she cannot sit still. There's been days where it's been a long work week, and I just want to veg out on the couch and read or watch a little TV or something. She can't do it. She can't sit still that long, and we have to be doing something. If it's not out adventuring or something, then it's cleaning the house. She doesn't force us to clean, of course, but you feel like a jerk if you're watching TV while she's mopping floors and stuff. I've been dealing with this for 20 years. I feel the same way about time off and doing stuff on my personal projects. I feel like I have to do something to move forward with it on my day off or days off, and if I don't do anything, then I feel like it's kind of wasted, even if I enjoyed myself just watching a TV show or something. Story 2. I recently learned that it is adult swim time at my city pool that has a water slide. Oh, buddy, I got great news. Adult Swim is on every night on the Cartoon Network. I can already see the bump. A user online discovered the best thing about being an adult was Adult Swim. They were talking about their municipal pool, not us. We still love you. Adult Swim. Man, that makes me so nostalgic for OG Adult Swim and then Toonami. You can find entire chunks of Toonami and Adult Swim and other 20-year-old TV blocks that people TiVoed or taped back in the day and uploaded to YouTube. It's weird. It'll just be a random 4-hour chunk of Snick or something from some random night in 1993, complete with the bumps in Circuit City and Time Life Pure Moods commercials and everything. Literally Adult Swim. As a child, I was ticked like, whose stupid butt idea was this? As an adult, I relish in Adult Swim. 15 sweet, sweet minutes of quiet bliss to just swim around. It's also somewhat of a break for lifeguards. There's still someone on duty, and you still have to yell at kids for running and stuff, but not having to watch a crowded pool full of small flailing bodies gives the eyeballs time to recharge. I think primarily it's a safety break for the kids who might continue swimming until exhaustion if they were not required to get out of the pool for those 15 minutes. I know they run around and do other stuff during Adult Swim. I was a lifeguard and eventually a pool manager for 7 years, but just getting out of the pool helps them reset. I told my wife I wanted to start trying for a kid so that I can have an excuse to go on the water slide and not look like a weirdo. All the kids were watching me, which felt weird. Then 2 of them were like, "Sir, we've never seen someone go that fast. How did you do it?" So I found myself bestowing waterslide wisdom to 2 up-and-comers, which felt odd because it unlocked a memory of my dad explaining how to dive off a diving board to some kids when I was younger. How can you write that comment and walk away without giving us those sweet, fast-sliding nuggets of wisdom? Arms across the chest and legs crossed at the ankle. Straight as a pencil. The trick is to really just have your heels and shoulder blades make contact while arching your back. Zooming time. Friction and air resistance reduction. Makes sense. Very clever. Keep your trunks off the slide. They create a lot of drag and slow you down. And if you try it naked to reduce drag, you'll get thrown out. Maybe thrown in jail, too. I felt this way about adult skate time if I ever went out roller skating. It was a time that I now realized was to take a break. And I needed it because I always went hard during roller skating and I always ended up with blisters no matter how closely the skates that I got fit. Story 3. Life in general. I was picked on all through high school and home wasn't much better. I'm always bewildered by adults who wish to be kids again. No thank you. You couldn't pay me enough to go back to any point in my life before I left for college. They had nice childhoods. Yep. I have a friend who wished he could go back to high school and asked if I'd go back if I could. I'm like, that's because you're a golden boy, man. You got good looks, are highly athletic, and are naturally intelligent with a good family. He kind of looked confused until I told him about my time in high school, getting botched with, struggling to focus on my academics because it was so damn boring, and I'm naturally super thin and not the best good looking. He seemed to understand after that, oddly enough. I think I liked my 30s the best. Teens and 20s were all dermatitis, stress, and anxiety. I could pour myself into my studies because it helped me not dwell on how awful life was. Ditching the anxiety made everything else work a bit better. I wish I could go back to school. I was so carefree. Like what? Exams, classes, bullies, puberty, being the poor kid, studying stuff you hated, etc. Who wants that back? I don't want to go back, but I get it. I am responsible right now for keeping several other humans fed and housed, among other things. I have a mortgage and other things to pay for. I must have a job, and I must do it well enough to keep my bosses happy. It can be stressful sometimes. And it's easy to look back with a bit of nostalgia to a time when all these things were someone else's problem. I wasn't even picked on. I was definitely one of the more popular kids, and I got along with most everyone. With that being said, I hated school. I viewed it like a prison, except I got to go home at the end of the day. I hated not having any choices. I hated waking up before sunrise to catch the bus. I was bored out of my mind at school. Being a kid was trash. I'm almost 30 now. I have a nice apartment and make good money at a job I don't mind going to. I go out with friends all the time. Life is the best it's ever been, and I wouldn't go back for anything. Seriously, people say the same thing to me. I think about the hell that was school. I was actually self-unaliving because of it, and even on my better days, I was counting down the days until I turned 17 and could drop out, and not even my parents could force me to go anymore. As an adult, I have a smeggy job where I'm abused, but I can go to HR, which probably wouldn't do a damn thing, or to an employment lawyer, which might get results, or just simply quit, and I've done all three. Quitting is the most satisfying, although you have to have your finances in order to do that. I don't miss that period, but I miss how I felt, the things I thought about. I swear there's a journal entry from my high school years that starts, "I woke up today and the sky was really blue and I felt happy to be alive." Like what? Yeah, give me that just one more time. I also miss discovering music as a teen. It felt so poignant and life-changing. Now it's fine and cool, but not the same. Part of me would like to go back to being a kid, to go through all that, knowing what I know now. I was an outcast, I was the weird kid, I was bullied a lot, but I tried to care. I tried to make friends and everything. Now, I know I'm weird, I probably go through all the same thing, but I wouldn't give a care to anyone at all. I'd just like to go through what I went through again with that kind of an attitude and see how things end up. I think that would be a cool experiment. Story 4. I remember as a kid always begging to go home after about 10 minutes of going over to my parents' friend's house because all they did was sit around and talk and drink, and I thought they were the most boring people on earth. Now I go over to my friend's place just to sit around and talk and drink, and it is a highlight of my week. There seems to be a common theme of stuff a kid gets to come along with, but not actually participate in until adulthood. Edit. First time getting corrected on my grammar while on the internet. Can I put that on a trophy wall somewhere? Things that kids get dragged along to where there's nothing for them to actually do, apart from the inevitable, go play with the other kids that you hate and have nothing in common with. I would get illicit substances along to a lot of gatherings as a kid where I was the only kid. I'd always pick out a few toys in advance to bring with me to keep myself occupied. I misread that as you'd need to be dosed to go to social gatherings, which I hope isn't the case. I don't understand this at all. My parents always made sure I brought along something to play with, or there were other kids or whatnot. I understand that not all kids can just bring along a book for this stuff, but that's where the planning comes in. Same. I always had a book with me. In the grocery store, Mom would gently steer me so I didn't run into things. At parents' friends' houses, at my brother's baseball games, on car rides, running errands, etc. What did I care about whether I read my book in my room at home or somewhere else? I'm sure it would be more entertaining if they were talking about stuff kids like, and you were also drinking, right? I still don't want to watch other people talk and drink. Not for free anyway, that's called being a bartender. I mean, I feel like this might have also been more of an issue of them being your parents' friends and not your friends, and not including you in conversation / not having the same interests to talk about, than just talking about being boring as a child. I don't know about you, but I could talk on the phone to my little friend from 2nd grade about 7-year-old things for hours as a child.
Please like and subscribe if you made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day.
Story 5. Being at home. I wouldn't leave if I didn't have to. Even if I do have to leave, I will try to find an excuse not to. Same. I needed to take an item to Kohl's for an Amazon return, and I'm like, ughness. It's all outside and warm and people-y. Even as a small child, my birthday wish was for my family to go out and do something and leave me alone at home. Of course, they would refuse, at first saying that I was too young to be left alone, and then, when I was old enough, saying that it was wrong to leave me alone while they do something fun, even if that's what I wanted. Both my parents worked, so in the 80s, if you're sick from school, you are home alone. I faked being sick so many times. Man, did I love nothing more than when everyone left for school/work and I dragged my pillow, blanket, and snacks out to the sofa to watch game shows all day long. There truly is no better feeling than solitude. I was a latchkey kid, so I got used to being by myself since I was about 7 or 8 years old. It's addicting. Minus, the whole COVID part. I miss lockdown. Same. I played so many video games, read so many books. My apartment was spotless, and there was little to no anxiety to go out and socialize. I could get lonely once in a while, but for the most part, lockdown was awesome. Story 6. Showers. I still almost never want to take a shower right up until I am in the shower. Then I never want to get out. This is how I feel every single time, for decades at this point. I didn't do anything. I don't need a shower. I'll rinse off, but I won't wash my hair. You'll have to drag me out of the shower. That was exactly what I needed. I've just sat in front of a computer all day. I don't need a shower. Fine, I'll shower, but I'm not going to do my hair. To add to this, give it a try. My girlfriend thinks I'm a psycho for doing it, but it's the best. Start filling the tub while you brush your teeth. Then turn on the shower and just sit in the tub while the shower rains on you. It's the best of both worlds. It's so relaxing, especially if you bring a shower beer with you. You're advised to brush your teeth and have a shower beer together? Because that's where you lost me. The rest is divine, though, especially when hungover. I've been to Thailand, and there have been places where I've lived at where the whole bathroom is designed to be a shower. Everything's tiled up and everything, so the shower head is just right there in the room. If you turn it on, the water will just bounce off everything. The whole room is the shower, and it's just so convenient. I love it. I've loved it for a long time. Story 7. Supermarkets and Costco specifically. Or maybe this was just me because I grew up poor and my parents never let me get anything I wanted. Just tag along and watch them buy staples. Yes, this. Same thing here. Grew up with nothing. Now I love going grocery shopping. I love a fully stocked grocery store in the morning too and filling up the fridge. I'm not like rolling in money now, but I'd say my family, I'm married with kids, is now more comfortable than when I was a kid. It's a weird balance, where I think witnessing budget constraints created a good sense of value for things against not wanting my kids to feel the stress of a parent at the grocery store checkout getting their card declined while trying to buy food. Obviously, the first part is something I can somewhat control by teaching my kids these things as they grow up, but nothing quite as effective as seeing it firsthand, which I think had a lot of influence over my views of the importance of good money management. I knew I was an adult when I got more joy going to Home Depot than Toys R Us. R.I.P. TRU. Story 8. Getting spanked. This was way back, but I saw Steve Allen as a guest on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson hosting, and they were just a couple of dirty old men joking around. Johnny: well, I'm guessing you were the class clown back in your school. Steve: well, yes, but the problem was that I went to a Catholic school, and when you're a boy, being spanked by nuns every day isn't fun. Johnny: yeah, but now you'd pay a lot of money for that. Oh, behave. Shagadelic, baby, yeah. Do I make you horny, baby? Do I make you randy? Right? They always tell me they don't want to hurt me, but I keep telling them I want it to hurt. Finding someone that gets that is so unreasonably difficult sometimes. But dear deity, when you do find someone that gets it, this is not my normal comment string to input, but I love to spank. My girlfriend loves that I understand it. It's supposed to sting a bit. Work the same spot a few times lightly to get some color, and then pop it as many times as your partner wants/needs or can handle it. My girlfriend likes to say, bonus points for catching my lower lips. Story 9. Spending time with parents. Can't agree with that, but I bet it's nice to have a good relationship with a family. This for sure. You get older and realize the only people in this world that really care about you are family. Then you see your parents getting older and start to understand they won't be around forever. My friend's mom recently passed. She was fairly young, too, early 60s when she first started getting real sick, really making me consider finding a job closer to my parents. At the moment, I only see them once or twice a year during the winter holidays, and they've had a couple of health scares recently. Our parents are the reason my wife and I don't move out of state. Lots of places we'd love to live, at least for a while. But my parents are mid-70s. Her parents are hitting 70. 1, not that much time left for random dinners and brewery visits for beer. 2, they're gonna need us here fairly shortly. I'm already in the mindset of cherishing being just 30 minutes away from them while it lasts. My dad's already starting to confess to me, after a few beers, how scared he is of passing. No way I could leave them at this point. It's a terrible, scary thing to go through, both for parents and children, I'm sure. Story 10. A vacuum cleaner. Especially if you hit a patch of crumbs and it makes that crackly noise. Ooh, shivers. Oh, that's the spot. My husband said I could get my dream vacuum. I've reached peak adulthood because I have a dream vacuum. My brother bought me a shop vac, and it is the frackin' best. And I don't even have a garage or shop. I have an apartment with mostly laminate floors and dog hair everywhere, no matter how much I sweep. This shop vac is a godsend. Also, vacuums with bags are so much better than vacuums without the bags. Dyson vacuums, says a person allergic to dust. Story 11. Vegetables. I'm going to disagree with you on that because I'm a youth and vegetables are awesome when made right. Made right is the key here. My mom really did me dirty, making me think boiling everything was how you do it. No, you season and roast vegetables. Slice up some cabbage and brush on a little olive oil and season as you wish with salt, onion, and garlic powder, etc., and it's delicious. Same with broccoli, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, you name it. Yes, roasting is key. I do enjoy steamed veggies, and I don't think I've ever tried boiled. But roasting is what you do, and then you slap some seasoning on and bam, tasty dish. Story 12. Naps. Beds in general, really. Going to bed early. Hell no, I still hate going to sleep. Always want to stay up as late as possible. But then, yes, I do need an afternoon nap as a result. I knew this would be the top answer. Afternoon naps, oh yes. Best answer. Done in one. Story 13. My birthday. I get to celebrate how I want and not how the rest of the family wants. Ugh, I got a birthday party exactly once after nagging my mom's ear off. I could only invite 2 friends, and nobody even bothered to get cake as far as I remember. It was 30 years ago, and I still cringe. I was never allowed to have a party. I could never go anywhere or do anything. It always had to be at my grandmother's house. I sat on the couch and had to be quiet while the adults talked. All I ever wanted was a chocolate cake with chocolate frosting and chocolate sprinkles. Nope, had to have angel food with strawberries and Cool Whip. Couldn't even have whipped cream. I used to just stop celebrating my birthday until this old lady at my job found out about my birthday and gave me a card. She said, "You should always celebrate your birthday because you don't know how many you have left." Story 14. Being able to go to school. Would absolutely love to be able to spend a few years just doing this. Me too. I fantasize sometimes about being able to go back to school as an adult. I like to learn and didn't have the best education. I want to redo now that I know I have ADD. I managed to get 2 university masters, but I want to know what would have been possible if I was focused. Story 15. Sweet silence. Silence is golden, unless you have a toddler, and then it's just really suspicious. It's downright terrifying if you hear toddler noises and they stop, and suddenly you realize you don't have kids. Story 16. Water. As a kid, I hated drinking water. As an adult, I can't get enough. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you survive. That could have been a Mitch Hedberg joke. Bravo. That's one of the best compliments I've ever received. Thanks. Story 17. A rainy Saturday spent at home. On a sofa, under a blanket with my wife, watching some TV or reading. Frack, yes. I also choose to be under a blanket with this guy's wife.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.